So the age-old question is, where do you mount a GoPro on a motorbike? And we've played quite a bit on this bike and come up with some pretty cool places that produce some great footage. So I think number one, on this type of bike, what we like most of all is the chest harness. For some reason, a naked bike like this where you're upright and there's not much in the way of impeding your view, it just seems to be a much better place to get the perspective of the rider, if that's the best way to describe it. But we've got some mounting spots around this bike which sort of give you a different perspective completely. So one down here on the frame, it's actually on the slider mounted to the frame, so you get kind of a look at the mechanics of the motorbike, the front wheel, and a much greater view of the road itself. The only issue with this is when it's close to the road, you get a lot of blur of the bitumen, particularly down in this area here. So yeah, you just got to get the right settings in your video and the right frame rates to be able to get some clarity in it. Yeah, so that's a pretty cool spot. Up here on the handlebar, we've got one mounted here. It doesn't impede the rider's hand or the brake lever or anything like that, and it's mounted in such a way that we get a view back to the side of the rider and what's behind and the side of the bike, and pretty good from a pillion perspective. So we found the camera in the middle is not quite as good when we've got a pillion, and if you want to have a look at how the pillion's riding and that type of thing. So yeah, it's kind of unique. We've got a couple of mounts up here. We've got one at the top of the headlight. That's used to look backwards towards the rider. We can get our back towards the rider type shots from there, but it's very central down the centre line of the bike, so unless the rider's leaning over quite a bit, you don't get much view of what's behind the rider. Okay, underneath the headlight we've got a mount here which looks forward. Okay, for some reason this one rattles just a little bit, but it's quite low, and the perspective is that you're very close to the bitumen, and it's a great way to view what kind of what the rider would experience when they're bent down, particularly on a sport bike type riding. So particularly like that one for just footage of other riders in front and the road itself. And we get in the back here, got a couple of mounts. We've tried up high here on the back bar, and this is probably more of a favourite for us. Down a little bit lower and you get a bit of a view of the back wheel and the rider's behind. So this is the mounting for pointing backwards. The mount here has been used to video forward, but it's really funny on super wide type settings. It gets both sides of the motorbike and the suspension and everything, and kind of distorts it a little bit. So again, you've got to be conscious of what's video camera settings you actually use to capture that type of footage. So there's various other places, all the traditional places, up high on the back, on the tank, with suction caps and that type of thing, on the bar itself. But we kind of like some of these unique angles. The one thing that we have done, which has worked out to be the best place for us, and that is mounting the remote control unit up here on the fuel tank cap, or fuel tank cover, and puts it nice and close to the rider, and it's really easy, and it's not leaning forward on an angle and twisted. It's vertical, and we see exactly what we see on the cameras, and it works out brilliant for us. So there you have it. That's how we've approached the mounting of GoPro cameras on this particular bike.